me try that one more time. Good afternoon, Nebraska.
We're not going to do Tim Walz's speech, but we are going to do hers.
It's so exciting to come back with Tim to his home state. Here's the thing. You can take the man out of Nebraska. You know how this goes, but you can't take Nebraska out of the man. My name is Gwen, and I am so proud to be on Team Harris Walz. I've been married to Tim for 30 years.
They're
and
sickeningly cute.
One of the things that prepared me most for life in politics was being married to a Nebraska football coach. And I can't think of a better team than Kamala and Tim. Right? They've both spent their careers fighting for middle-class families. Yet, families like the ones they grew up in. They want to give everyone a chance, absolutely everyone a chance, to chase the American dream. Together, Kamala and Tim will fight for a future that all of our children deserve. All. Now, it's been just a little more than a
She's
week
never murdered a
since
dog.
Tim joined the ticket. So I wanted to give you just a little bit
Not
of
even
introduction.
once?
I know it has been quite a week, I have to say. Like all of you, I wear a lot of different hats, or in my case, a lot of different shoes.
Also, she looks like Miranda from Sex and the City, and it's
I'm
kind
a
of
mom, I'm a
driving me
sister,
crazy.
A friend, a retired military spouse. And right now, I'm the First Lady of Minnesota. But for much of my life, I've been a teacher.
Well, he was in the military, Mr. Miyagi. You know, he wanted to start a family when he was done. That's why he retired.
So I was going to ask this question, but I think you might have answered it, but I'm asking it anyway. Are there any teachers here today? I would just like to say thank you for your work. Yep.
She really is a gem.
Sincerely. Yes! Now that's how Tim and I first met. We were both teaching in Nebraska. Yep. He taught social studies, you might know that, and I taught English.
You're so cute together, guys.
In fact, two of my former English colleagues are right here with us today, up in that box. Now, Tim and I even shared a classroom. It was the old choir room, and in the school, they were short on rooms, so they just put a divider right down the middle. And it was thin. So his class was always just a little louder and a little more boisterous. That's right, isn't it, Aubrey? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There was just so much energy in that classroom. But what I knew is that Tim and I shared a belief that education can be transformative. And we saw it firsthand, and we still see it firsthand, there was a student named Waylon, and Waylon was a football player on the team Tim coached and a student in my English classroom.
Student named Wayland Yutani.
Guess where he'd rather be. That's my story. He was brilliant on the football team, but difficult in my classroom. I soon learned that Waylon was reading way below grade level, and he was acting out, and that was actually an attempt to hide that from his peers and from me. So I asked Coach Walz to huddle with me and make a plan. We asked Waylon to stop by my classroom for a few minutes, and I told him that a student who was failing a core class could not participate in school, or in football. That was a school rule. And I had a plan, and Coach Walz was on board. And Waylon said, okay, what is it? And I said, Waylon, if you would come in for tutoring several times a week, before school, lunch, whenever we could make it work, you can keep playing football, but you have to come to tutoring and you have to make progress. He agreed and he worked hard. I started seeing some of that hard work from the football field in my classroom. Waylon's reading began to improve.
Yeah, honestly,
And he continued the
honestly, guys, and Cosmic Quibble, I agree with your comment. Like, this campaign in the span of like 2 weeks has basically convinced me that like Tim Walz has the juice to become president. Like, if he runs after Kamala Harris like finishes her time in office, like I think he would win. I think he'd win very, very handily, very easily, you know? Like, he's got the energy, you know? And maybe that'll change with time, but like right now, he could be running top of the ticket.
tutoring, even after the season ended. We never discussed it, though we just kept reading. And Tim would often cross that thin divider in our classroom to read with Waylon and to cheer him on. And at the end of the year, Waylon had confidence in himself, both on and off the field.
But look at this, listen to this story. Like, goodness.
He graduated from high school, and educators, you know what that feels like. You know what that feels like. It is what we live for. And he had a shot to succeed. He had a chance. One of the things I love most about Tim is that he believes so strongly that every student, every child deserves a chance to get ahead. That's what teachers know, and that's what we know in schools today. We have some former students here today who experienced this. It's a commitment that I know Vice President Harris shares, and it is a vision that they will fight for every single day in the White House. So as we, you and I,
Yeah, Olive Ryder,
Aubrey and
that's going to be a
Nebraska,
risk,
Congressional District 2,
no matter what happens,
as
you
we
know?
build the future for our children, let's be proud of that and let's take pride in our work. Now, you might not know my mom, but I bet you kind of know my mom. And she used to say to me, Gwen, do the work that is in front of you. And when I was in 6th grade, or about that time, I thought that meant the dishes. But I learned that wasn't exactly what it meant. It's advice that is both thoughtful and actionable. So I'm asking you here today, Nebraska, to join me in doing the work that is in front of us. Yeah. Will you? Let's do that work in front of us. Let's volunteer. Let's door knock. Let's sign up. Let's bring volunteers together. Bring a friend. Donate. Talk to people in parking lots. Make the phone calls. bake brownies for those who are making the phone calls,
Like,
drive people where they
God.
need to go. Let's do whatever needs to be done. Let's watch that work in front
She's
of us
so
that our country
wholesome.
needs, that Nebraska needs, that we needs. And together, we are going to win this thing. Let's win this. Now it's my honor to introduce someone very special, someone who spent time on both sides of that divider in our classrooms. Aubrey Herman Faustman had Mr. Walz for geography and me for English. Right? Yes. Checking. She was a standout student, of course, and she was on the cheer team. So she, along with all of my speech kids, was wanted, right, speech kids? Where are you? Yeah. She was one of the few who could call me Coach Walz. We're so delighted that you're all here today, and
so
especially that
good.
she's here with us today. So let's give a warm Nebraska welcome, like you know how to do, to Aubrey Faustman.
Thank you so much, First Lady Walz. Hey, Nebraska!
Like, guys, this is a kid both of them taught. Both of them taught this kid. You know, like, I feel like there are very few endorsements that ring as strongly as a kid that you taught.
As you heard, my name is Aubrey, and it's such an honor to be here today to welcome Governor Walz back home to Nebraska. Or Mr. Walz, as I used to call him when he was my high school geography teacher. Now, Mrs. Walz, she was my high school English teacher, cheer coach. She helped me raise that pesky ACT score, and she was also my speech and debate coach, which I think is part of the reason I'm able to stand here right now and talk to all of you. As a teacher, Mr. Walz really challenged us as his students. He was incredibly supportive, understanding with all of us. His humor and excitement kept us engaged. That same energy and enthusiasm you're seeing right now from him out on the campaign trail is exactly how he was with us in the classroom almost every day. Mr. Walz has a great sense of humor. He's just a common sense, voice of reason, steady guide. And I think that's exactly what we need right now. I remember that feeling when you would walk into his classroom. It didn't really matter what had happened earlier on in the day, if you'd had a good day, a bad day. You walked into his room and you immediately felt comfortable. He put you at ease, you could focus, you could learn, and we probably laughed a lot too. The first thing I said to my husband when Governor Walz was announced as Vice President Harris's running mate was, I cannot wait for the rest of the country to get to know this guy.
Like, I can't imagine, like, a stronger endorsement, you know? Like, what is a stronger endorsement than that? Than, like, one of your kids that you taught saying something like that.
Because what they're going to see is just a good, decent human being who's committed to giving back to his community. He served our country honorably as a veteran in the National Guard. He's never forgotten his small-town roots and has advocated for working families while being in Congress. As governor, he's cut taxes and lowered health care costs. Yes. He's an advocate for women's reproductive rights. And he has given hope to so many who want to grow their own families. He's still the same champion and coach for the countless of students like me whose lives he touched. Mr. and Mrs. Walz are good people who've committed their lives to giving back to their communities.
Oh my
We
God.
see that now with the incredible job he's done as the governor of Minnesota, where he has an impressive record of delivering for middle-class families like the one he grew up in. He signed the largest tax cut in state history, passed the largest infrastructure bill in Minnesota history, and with bipartisan support, he cut insulin costs to $35 a month to many Minnesotans. And as a father whose daughter was born thanks to fertility treatments, he knows how critical reproductive health care is. Which is why he made Minnesota the first state to pass a law codifying abortion rights after Donald Trump overturned Roe v. Wade.
You can tell Tim is just ridiculously proud right now.
Governor Walz is fighting for the future.
Not of him, not of himself, but of this woman, you know?
He couldn't be more different than Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, and who are only focused to dragging us into the past. He's the perfect partner for Vice President Kamala Harris, and they are ready to take Donald Trump and beat him once and for all. Now it's on all of us to put in the work to send Vice President Harris and Governor Walz to the White House. So let's get to work. And with that, please join me in welcoming the next Vice President of the United States, Senator Walz.
Just like, man, isn't this wholesome? Like, we actually get to fight for something, chat. You know, like, how wonderful is it that we get to fight for the kinds of people whose students are proud of them, who, like, believe in them because they believed in a kid when no one else would, you know? They altered their lives and schedules to make sure that kids got the help they needed at every available opportunity in turn. And frankly, those are the kinds of people that I want to have power. You know? Where did we as a country get this idea that the people who should have power are psychopaths who put profit over people, who have forgotten what it means to be a human being because they're too busy taking shits on golden toilets? You know? I'm really proud that we get to run with this ticket this time around. You know, I wasn't happy about Joe Biden being on the ticket. I thought that was horrible. And I'm really glad that things have taken such a huge swing for the better, because this is unprecedented. The time we are living in, the political reality we are seeing unfold before us, this is not how this usually goes. Usually we are stuck with a sinking ship and our job is to bail water out of it. And this time, our job is just to do normal sailor stuff. We don't have to actually, like, go into crisis mode and like have men on the pumps 24/7. We don't have to do that because we have a functional campaign that isn't running on neoliberal bullshit. At least not yet, anyway. I'm looking at you, Kamala Harris.